actually wrote this one for my wife after having our kids, and I wanted to get on here and share it with you guys. We're going to be doing 9 exercises, 1-minute intervals each. Let's go ahead and get started. The first one on the list is some stomach vacuums. And so to do a stomach vacuum, what I tell people is the first thing you're going to do is lay down on your back with your knees bent, take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale all of that air. And then at the bottom of that exhalation, what I want you to do is focus on contracting that deepest abdominal layer. That's that transverse abdominis muscle. That's the muscle that's actually going to suck your belly button into your spine. So deep breath in, breathe all your air out, and then try to pull your belly button into your spine. You're going to hold it there for 5 to 10 seconds, and then go ahead and relax that contraction. The reason why we do the deep breath with this is because I don't want you to use your diaphragm to suck your stomach in. Taking a deep breath, will draw your stomach in, but that's a passive contraction. It's kind of more of a diaphragmatic thing. And we want that to be an active thing with your stomach, with that transverse abdominis muscle. Nice job, you guys. 60 seconds down. Let's get into our next one. Is going to be a pelvic tilt with a march. And so to do this, the setup is really similar. Laying on your back with your knees bent, what I'm going to have you do is rock your hips backwards to flatten your stomach, to flatten your back down into the mat, into the floor that you're on. So here, Camille's going to reset it again. And so you rock your hips backwards, then you hit one of those stomach vacuums. So I want you to contract your abdomen by drawing your belly button into your spine, hold it there nice and tight, and now what we're going to do is add some of these marches. The biggest, kind of the most important part of this exercise that I want you to keep in mind is keep that back flat and keep that stomach tight. I want you to hold that vacuum. I want you to hold that posterior pelvic tilt and that TA contraction the whole time that you're doing these marches. You're going to hit about 3 to 4 to 5 to even 6 marches. The longer you hold it, the more marches you can do. Camille, she's been doing this for a while, so she's really good at it. I want you to do as many as you can while holding that contraction. Take more breaks than that if you need to. Let's get into some side planks. We're going to hold a static side plank. She's on her left side right now. She's going to hold that for 30 seconds. To get into the side plank, so her left elbow is directly under her left shoulder. She's out on the outside of her left foot. And then I'm looking for a straight line, nose, belly button, between her knees, between her ankles, all the way down. Should be a nice straight line. Bonus on this, you can hit one of those TA contractions. And so again, while you're up in that side plank position, well, there's 30 seconds left. Now let's roll over onto the right. Let's hit it for 30 seconds on that side. Hit one of those TA contractions while you're up. So you'll notice that she gets into that side plank position, and then I'm going to have her draw her belly button in again. And so again, it's all about that transverse abdominis muscle. That's the one that we're really trying to activate. That's the biggest bang for your buck, especially postpartum. That's the one that's stretched out the most. And then that's also the one that's going to help with that diastasis recti problem. Okay, so there's 30 seconds there on our side planks. Let's go ahead and let's hit some bridges with a vacuum. So we're going to get back down into that position, laying on our back with our knees bent. She's going to hit one of those stomach vacuums. So she's going to draw her belly button in towards her spine. And I want her to hold that while we're doing one of these bridges. And so to do a bridge, you're going to contract your glutes. Again, hold that TA contraction. Squeeze your butt together. Use your butt to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. I don't want to just focus on the anterior abdominal wall or the anterior core. This is going to be a complete core workout. We're going to hit the front, the abs, the side, kind of the obliques, and then also those spine extensors and those hip extensors in the back as well. And so again, not just a straight bridge up and down. I really want you guys to focus on hitting that transverse abdominis contraction. Suck everything in nice and tight. Squeeze your glutes together. And then that's what you're going to use to lift your hips up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1. Nice job, everyone. Let's get into some dying bugs. We're coming at you hard and fast with this. We're about halfway through the first set. To get into the dying bug, we're going to lay on our back. You'll see that her hips are bent to 90 and her knees are bent to a 90-degree angle. Both arms reach straight up towards the ceiling. Now what she's going to do is hit one of those transverse abdominis contractions. So again, we're really trying to emphasize that squeezing that belly button in, really trying to brace the stomach, make it as skinny as possible, just trying to suck everything in is what we're going for with that activation of that deepest core muscle. And then what she's going to do is lower her right leg towards the ground while her left arm goes up and over her head, and then her left leg towards the ground as her right arm goes up and over her head. A little bit more difficult just because we're actually getting out into this more kind of lengthened, stretched out position with this one. It's a little bit harder to hold that transverse abdominis contraction, but again, that's where your emphasis is just trying to keep everything sucked in, just zipped up nice and tight down there. Okay, there's that with 60 seconds in the dying bug. Let's get into some side plank pulses. We're going to hit the side plank again. We're going to take it up a level. Again, she's out on her left side here to start. Get into that initial kind of static side plank position, and then she's going to hit that TA contraction. Now what we're going to do is add some hip dips. And so dip that left hip down towards the floor, and then use those muscles in your side, those obliques, to pull your right hip up towards the ceiling. 30 seconds on the left, and then let's flip over and let's do 30 seconds on the right. Again, so now the right elbow is directly underneath the right shoulder. We're going to get up onto the outside of the right foot. If that's too difficult, we can hit a modified side plank by getting on your right knee instead. So be on your right elbow and then on your right knee. Just basically makes the moment arm shorter. The principles of torque applied makes it a little easier to do when you're on your right knee and your right elbow. Nice job, everyone. So there's another 30 seconds on that, and then we're going to get into some tabletop toe taps. Very similar to the dying bug. Now what we're going to do is lay on our back, so both, again, hips and knees are at a 90-degree angle. She's going to hit that posterior pelvic tilt, so I want her to flatten her back down into the floor. I want her to hit the transverse abdominis activation, so she's going to suck in her stomach. She's really going to try to keep that TA engaged, while we're now just doing what we'd call toe taps. So I don't want her pelvis to move. Her back stays flat. Her stomach stays sucked in. The knees stay at a 90-degree angle, but now what she's going to do is alternate, dropping just left toes, right toes down towards the table, or down towards the floor, whatever surface that you're on. And so just a little tap, and then come right back up, tap, and then come right back up. Again, the most important part here is I want that transverse abdominis active. I want that stomach to stay sucked in just as much as you can, and then we're going to tap, tap, alternating toes. 60 seconds just like that. Everybody, you're doing great. Let's get into another back exercise. We're going to do a bird dog with a stomach back here. She's going to get down on all fours, and now what we're going to do is hit that TA contraction. You'll see that she sucks in her abs before she even moves anything with this exercise. And now what we're going to do is alternate right arm reaching forward with left leg kicking straight back, and then left arm reaching forward with right leg kicking straight back. Try not to let your hips rotate too much on this. Hips should stay nice and level. And again, the bonus here is that I really want you to focus on sucking in that TA, sucking in the stomach, sucking in those abs. This is a little bit harder because the abs are in a little bit more dependent position. And so you have to work a little harder to keep that transverse abdominis contracted while you're doing this. But again, we're just alternating left, right, right, left. This is a great exercise if you have some low back pain going on. A lot of the postpartum women that I see come into me and complain about some low back pain. This is a great way to work on those muscles. So there's your bird dogs with the stomach vacuum. I got great news. We're down to our last exercise. Let's get into some side planks with a T rotation, also known as a thread the needle side plank. Again, up into that initial kind of static side plank position, but now what she's going to do is with that right arm, reach up towards the ceiling, and then duck down and kind of thread that needle thread that hole that's made from her left elbow, left arm, and down through her torso. And so adds a little bit of a rotational element to that side plank position. There's 30 seconds on the left. Now let's get into 30 seconds on the right. Again, just like I've harped on enough already, you guys, we're going to keep that TA active. I really want you to focus on keeping the abs sucked in while you do this. And so there we go. So we're just going to hit 30 seconds on the right side. I know you're burning. I know you're feeling it by now. You've only got 10 seconds left. And then we're done with our first set. After this, what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat one more time this whole circuit. So 2 9-minute circuits. Nice job, everyone. You did it. Okay, take a 60-second